From the Northeast Georgia Business RadioX studio, this is Northeast Georgia Business Radio. Welcome back, folks, to another exciting edition of Northeast Georgia Business Radio. I'm your host, Tom Sheldon, and we're coming to you live from the beautiful Empower College and Career Center of Jackson County. I have with me two amazing guests from the Piedmont Regional Library System. I have with me Alicia King and Kelli McDaniel. Ladies, welcome to the Northeast studio.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Now, see, the first voice was Kelli. Second voice was Alicia.
Yes.
Correct.
I got that right. See,
Yeah,
I'm doing good.
Nailed it.
Boom, batting 1,000. Piedmont Regional Library System. You're like librarians and stuff. That's the only way I can put it.
And stuff as assigned.
That's right.
That's us.
That is us.
But now you are here. We're going to talk about something very important.
Yes.
Not just library stuff. It is library stuff. The Parent Partner Initiative. Yeah?
Correct. Yes.
That's why we're here today.
That's it. Yeah.
A big new initiative, program thing going on.
Yes.
So you got to tell me all about this. Because I know I've listened to Alicia talk a few times. Mm-hmm. So I know a little bit enough to really not sound like I know what I'm talking about. So talk to me. It's for obviously it's for literacy.
Yes. And it's not just for literacy, it's for early literacy. So,
which is super important.
When we talk about early literacy, that refers to basically everything a child knows about reading before they actually know how to read. The early literacy development window is kind of from birth to 5 years old.
Wow.
So this starts happening as soon as, I guess technically, even while the baby is still in the womb, they can hear.
Wow.
But we're talking about from the day a baby's born till the day they enter school, which is generally around, 5 years old. Mm-hmm. All the things that parents can do as their child's first teacher to really develop their child and get them ready to read once they enter school. I want to emphasize that we're not talking about instructing your children to read. That's phonics, and that happens in the schools, and your child learns how to read at school. What we're talking about in this early literacy development period is, the way I kind of illustrate it in my brain is, if when your baby's born, you are given this big glass jar, and every time you talk to your baby, every time you read to your baby, every time you play with your baby or sing a song, you're putting in Lego blocks into this big jar. By the time your child goes to school, you want them to have thousands of Legos.
Yeah.
With all these really interesting pieces so that the teachers can take those building blocks and create a masterpiece.
Did you so come up with that on your own?
It's always my illustration. Yes.
That is awesome. Sorry.
Thank you. No, but
I interrupted. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, because that's the way I think about it. Because research shows that children enter school at really widely varied levels of preparation.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
So some kids come to school with a jar that has, a quarter filled.
Sure.
Some kids come to school with 5 jars.
Yeah, I was about to say they have multiple jars.
And then the teacher has to use those tools to really get them along, right?
Yeah.
So some kids start out way ahead, some kids are very far behind, and it can be difficult to, make them equivalent. So
at the same time, I don't want to say it's obviously not impossible, but your work's cut out. As a teacher, your work is cut out for you.
Right.
It truly is.
And there's so much that parents can do from birth, before their kids go to school. And none of it is complicated. We frame it around 5 early literacy practices, and that is reading, writing, singing, talking, and playing with your child. So those are very instinctual, basic processes with your kids.
Yes.
You're reading to them, you're talking to them, you're singing, you're playing.
Right. It's not, as Kelli would say, it's not direct teaching. It's instinctual. It's not a directed time of day. It's what you do throughout the day, all day long, and how you engage with your child. And whether you know it or not, again, you are that first teacher, so to speak. Mm-hmm. As you can be, some people, that's very natural for them. Other people, maybe that's a little bit more instruction, or, I didn't know that's what I was doing. And how can I take that even further or deeper to do? And that's what this initiative is and the resources that we've provided, because we are a library. So we are all about providing resources, free resources, to anybody that really is looking for that, and to help that and to guide that in giving their child or making it the best possible experience when they transition into a traditional schooling process.
Yes, the more instructional piece
Yes.
of actual school. And there really is a ton of research out there that says the more prepared your child can be to read and the quicker they get on grade level reading, the more successful they will be throughout their entire education career. So, of course, getting on grade level reading by 3rd grade is super important.
That's a pivotal year.
And then just making sure your kids go to school with like I said, all those tools and ready to go once they start. It just helps them out so much. And we wholeheartedly believe that literacy is a community concern. It's not just a school concern. It's not just parents' concern. This is something that everybody should care about, and everybody should be helping families tap into these resources. And I'm always conscious, as a parent myself, I have 3 children. I work full time. My husband works full time. Life is very busy. I'd never want to say you're not doing enough. Like, that's always a very big concern of mine. I'm never saying do more, right. You're not doing enough.
Right.
We just want to keep emphasizing the simplicity of this.
Yes.
Reading, writing, singing, talking, and playing with your child. It can happen all day, every day in the margins. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be something extra you're doing on top of everything else.
And I think with this initiative, it's tied around a web page that was created on our website, PRLIB.org, and it is called Parent Partners. It's under the, what is it, Kelly? The child?
It's under the kids tab.
Kids tab. I want Kelly to speak a little bit more about this, as the creation and the design of it, because it is centered around this resource page, what parents can find there.
If you navigate yourself to this page, you'll see it's divided up into a couple different tabs. There's a Learn section, a Visit section, a Grow section, and a More section. Learn is where parents can deep dive a little bit into some of the research around early literacy. Again, what we mean by when we say that term, what the research says about this development period, why we think it's so important to setting them off on the right path, all of that good stuff. There's plenty of resources there for that. Then there's a Visit section, which talks about if you come to the library, here's all the things that you can access for free with your library card or just, by coming into the building at the library. So that's books, of course, for all ages. We've got lots of children's resources like ABC Mouse, which is a fun online learning platform for children to play games. We've got programs, of course. We've got story times all the way from babies up through toddlers and preschoolers. Lots of other play times and other times where parents and families can come together in the space and get to know each other and commune, as well as our 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. So that is focused on if you can read 1,000 books to your child before they enter kindergarten, you've set them off on a completely different path than you might have previously.
A lot of these resources are free
Yes.
to families and children.
Yes, all of these resources are free. All of them.
I avoid the word all because
Yes.
there'll be one, but all.
Literally all.
Literally all. All you
They
need.
double-checked, folks.
Yes,
That's correct.
Double-checked. And one thing, with a library card, if you want to check out materials, but if you don't, you can. So it's available to anybody and everything except if you want to start. What I do want to bring out about this parent partner page that we took a long time is, yes, there is an ocean of information about early literacy and what to do, and it can be very overwhelming. If anybody has ever tried to just dip their toe in, it gets very overwhelming. But what we did over a couple months was really go through this information, who our community partners are, our school partners are, and we pulled out the information that is very strategic. That may not be the word I actually want to use. Kelly might have a better word for me for that.
That's a pretty good word.
It's very strategic, and
It's pointed.
It's pointed. It goes to that information. When you go to our website and you look at this, you have videos that will instruct you if you've never really read before, you're not comfortable with, how do I read a book? I really know how to do that. It's short videos. I don't think any video on that page is over 3 minutes long. It's very quick, it's instructional, and it's meant to be instructional for that. If you look at, we have books that we recommend, they are linked directly to checking them out. Every click leads you to specific information, so you're not hunting. We did not want any of our parents, our patrons, that when they go there, they have to do the digging. We did the digging. So it is very easy, very, very accessible for any parent.
Yes, all the pieces of that page have been vetted, and we've been, we've personally looked through them all and chosen them for a specific reason. And as you move down into the kind of doing section there's tons of videos, and so many. I think a lot of times, certain people, not everybody, but they can get caught up in, I'm putting on a performance. Yeah. I don't do voices, and I don't do puppets, and I don't play. I don't know how to play.
If you only had a husband that did stuff like that.
That's right.
I'm
not
just saying.
Everybody is comfortable.
I can't sing. I can't hold a tune.
Yeah, not everyone's comfortable being silly and, kind of letting loose. But I think what's important to see is that you don't have to do that. You can just straight up read the book. And you can just, there's a little bit of how to ask a question while you read the book, how you can guide it, and, talking with your child instead of just reading at them, and lots of fun little songs and what we call finger plays, which are like rhymes that have motions that go with them.
Like the Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Yeah,
we used to
good
do
example.
that.
Yeah. It's just something to kind of give a little just a little extra touch to. And personally, having been a children's programmer for a long time, I've done a lot of story times. It definitely feels like performing. I get that. But in my own life, I have found those very useful in times where you're having to wait with your child somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's very helpful to have something you can kind of pull out of your bag of tricks.
A bit of a distraction.
Yes,
oh, yeah.
to distract, and they're short and they're quick and snappy, and you get a lot of bang for your buck if you take the time. They look and feel very simple, but you're doing big work when you do them.
Absolutely. Ladies, we're going to take a real quick break, and folks, we'll be right back. One of our great community partners is Logo Surfing Promotional Items and Apparel, your local supplier of all things branded. Contact Logo Surfing today to access the largest selections of affordable promotional products and custom apparel. Haruko and her team can provide the swag you need: t-shirts, hats, drinkware, writing instruments, banners, and much, much more. Visit logosurfing.com. That's logosurfing.com. Find the right promotional items for you. And while you're at it, visit our new website, negabrx.com, to see all our great community partners. Ladies, are you still there?
Yes.
We're here.
You didn't run off on me.
No.
The library system, Piedmont Regional, is basically partnering with parents. Am I right on that?
Yes. So that's how we see ourselves.
It's a partnership. Before the
Yes.
schools are a partnership.
Before the schools are a partnership. So I think most people, when they have a child, they know their child's going to go to school. We have a public education system.
It's going to happen, right?
It's a guaranteed, it's coming when they get old enough to enter, hopefully, pre-K, if you're lucky enough to get into one of the pre-K programs. If not, at least they're going to go in kindergarten, right? Mm-hmm. So, and at that time, parents and teachers become partners in their education, correct?
Right.
So what we want to do is try to kind of reframe this so that parents see the public library as your partner before your child enters school. We want people in the community to see the public library as a partner for parents and families before children reach school. Because again, this early literacy window closes. I don't want to say closes, because I don't want it to sound like if you miss it, you're done.
But it's brief. But it is so brief.
It's so small,
Yeah.
and it's so full of other concerns and other craziness and just massive development that it goes really quickly. Mm-hmm. And so what we want is for parents to think, I've had my baby. Let's get to the library. Let's get a first library card. Let's get some
On the
books.
way home from the hospital,
You better.
we are stopping at the library.
We better be your first stop. Well, I mean, if I can help it, one day you will get your first library card in the hospital.
That's right.
That's a good idea.
And we would love to work on
That
baby's
is a
first
good
library
idea.
cards.
That's right.
in the
That is a
hospital.
good idea.
With first books.
Yeah. So we are currently working on that here in Jackson County. It's, that would be a huge thing. But we do think it is a really important piece to having a baby to having a child is focusing on this development period, working on connecting with your baby and really getting them ready to go. And so we just really want parents to think of the public library as their partner, not just someplace we go, not, just someplace you see every once in a while. We want to be part of your regular routine. We love the families that we get to know in our libraries.
And there are a lot of programs at the library that do foster that. Of course, there's always a traditional story time, but there's bouncing babies.
Playtimes and Lego times.
Yes. And again, the other things that we have, like ABC Mouse, things like that you either come into the library, and there's the whole community aspect of meeting with other parents and caregivers and that social support network. And of course, all the materials, all the books that you could ever want, that they are there for them. But there's also the online for families who can't, and because people work, it's very busy. And one of the wonderful things, one very good thing that came out of COVID was the expansion of our e-library and our children's e-library, e-books, books that are read to them, that are animated, and that has grown exponentially. And we want parents to know, yes, it's the library maybe you grew up with is not the same library. It has changed and it's evolved, and to meet those needs. And that has become, for us, this early birth through 5, and we call it Parent Partner Initiative, that has become a bigger thing for us.
I think it's important that parents know that at whatever level you can interact with us. We're ready and we're there. You can come into the library. Awesome. We've got plenty of stuff for you. And I think what's really interesting about public libraries is we are one of the very few places left in communities where you are free to walk through the door, free to stay all day long if you wish, and we expect nothing in return in terms of payment or anything like that. Starbucks just made the news recently that now you have to buy a drink if you want to sit and use their free Wi-Fi all day.
That's right.
McDonald's, there's this understanding there's free Wi-Fi, but you're probably going to be buying some lunch.
You're going to be eating. Yes.
So we really do feel like the public library is a community hub where your taxes pay for this.
Yeah.
And we joked about it being free. I also tend to think of it as you're already paying for it. So
That's true.
Come on in and get your money's
true.
worth.
And utilize it. Utilize us.
Yes.
That's what we want.
Yeah. And like we said, of course, there's plenty of stuff to do in the libraries. And if you haven't been in a public library before, this is just my PSA that I think people should stop in and at least see what the modern day, current library looks like and feels like. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's loud. It's very lively.
Do you shush people?
No.
Does that still happen?
Well, I mean, if you're being extremely loud, we might give you our code of conduct and yell at you. But
not children.
For the most part, you're probably going to find the librarians behind the desk louder than anybody else.
Right.
But no, we want life in our libraries. We want lively, energetic, exciting libraries because that's what made us fall in love with them all these years ago. And libraries really are about the people who use them.
Yes.
We are no good.
Well, you're building
without
community
people.
with them, or at least
Yes.
you hope you are.
Correct.
How do you increase community engagement and involvement? Because many people drive by a library every day and they don't even know what it is. They don't realize it is a library. Oh, by the way, forget what's in it or what they could be doing. They don't even know it's there.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I know. I'm all about community engagement, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm interested in.
I wish we had $1 for every time we've heard a patron say, I didn't know you were here.
Yeah.
And maybe the library hasn't moved locations in 45 years.
Yeah.
So community engagement is always really tricky, especially in these times where everybody's attention is really fractured. So all of our libraries have social media
What are you talking about,
pages.
Kelly? What?
We're here on
Cell
a
phones?
podcast.
Well, but now the podcast is good because when people are driving into work, especially business podcasts, they listen to us.
Yes.
Yes.
And I would
Super
love.
important.
So now that you mentioned that, a big part of community engagement as well is building our support system out in the community because we can't work alone. We have a ton of partnerships with local businesses, with local nonprofits, with other educational organizations in the community. It's a team effort, really, and we would love to support other people's projects and businesses, and we would love for them to support us. And it doesn't always have to be like a quid pro quo exchange of services. It's just hey, tell your people about us.
Right.
Do you serve families in some way? Are you a local ice cream shop who has people coming in and out all day during the summer?
That is true, yeah.
We would really love for you to tell your parents that are, tell these families that are bringing all these kids in about the local library. Tell them what resources they have and that you think it's really important, or whatever it could be. We can come up with a million different ways to work together, but that's really important.
What I hear throughout this entire thing is communicating with your child from day one.
Yes.
Yes.
And personally, I think communication in general is dying, mainly because of those cell phones and those tablets. Novel idea, actually talk to your child.
I think more importantly, it's shifting, which is complicated because...
Well, Kelly, I'm old. I say dying.
I know
you're still young and vibrant, so shifting is a better word.
And what I hear is you've killed it.
No.
But
well, maybe.
No, it is shifting, and it's definitely not.
It's narrowed.
Always a good thing.
No, and it's narrowed.
Yeah.
It's narrowed, and it's insular.
Yeah.
You're not as out with everybody. If you're sitting there in a room, instead of maybe talking to the person next to you, you are looking at your phone.
Correct.
Or you're communicating through text or anything like that.
Right.
So even at that, again, bringing it back is engaging with your child in those ways that you don't think is big. What did, Kelly, you said is you are doing big things when they're small little things, and you don't. Some parents don't. Oh, they're not aware of it. They don't have to be.
That's the
but
big
it's
thing.
Happening.
There's no manual that comes with these babies.
Exactly.
No, and that's what we wanted to do, is provide a resource, an easy resource.
Yeah.
For parents that you can look and you can see if you don't know where to start, because it is overwhelming.
Yeah, and I really like to think about, I think we can see our connections to technology these days as harmful or hurting something. It's like, everybody's in their phone. Mm-hmm. But I really try to think of it as broadening. I want it to be a broadening effect instead of a narrowing effect. It's funny to talk about all this. This initiative that we're talking about is web-based.
Yeah.
It's a tech.
That is true.
This is a tech project.
But
that
you're
we're
learning
talking
skills, and then you're
learning
going
skills
forth with those skills
that you will take outside of the
Right.
tech. Correct.
Right.
So, I just really want I want people to see it as extra options,
Always good to have options.
As a broadening event instead of something that's radically changing the way you're interacting with your child. And we're definitely not saying, hey, sit your kid down in front of this screen and let this book read to them, But it's like you sit there and watch it with them. You talk about it. You ask them some questions. You go, man, that was silly. Let's watch another one. Or which one was your favorite? Did you like that dog or the bear? I liked the bear. It's those little teeny interactions, even if they're based around a screen or even if they're based around something else you're doing. This can help you get that tool in your toolbox, and then you can use it everywhere else.
Right. You can take those skills and use them while you're driving across town in the car.
Oh, 100%. Or at bath time.
Preferably without a phone in your hand, right?
Or you're grocery shopping.
Exactly.
Or you're doing any of the million things that you're doing all day, every
trying
day.
to make sure they're being behave while they're having to wait forever with you for something. Yeah.
Yes.
That whole distraction thing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Good parenting. What
Since
do you mean
the dawn
you
of time.
Yeah, really. What do you mean you have to be a parent?
The art of distraction.
The art of distraction. Well, ladies, what else do we need to get in? We need to give the website one more time.
Yeah, so PRLIB.org is our main library website. If you look under the kids section, you'll find Parent Partners right there. Again, it's chock full of really great resources that are either found in your library, online in our e-library, in your own home with your own little actions and brain. Everything is very accessible, very practical.
And I want to end it physically. Where are your libraries at? Because the assumption is everyone knows, and they don't.
Ooh, yes. Come and see us at the library.
Yeah.
We love that. So we have, in our regional system, we have 10 libraries in 3 counties. So in Barrow County, we have libraries in Statham, Winder, and Auburn. Here in Jackson County, we have libraries in Brazelton, Jefferson, Talmo, Maysville, Commerce, and Nicholson. And then in Banks County, we have a library in Homer. And if you go to our website, prlib.org, you can find your local, closest location. And then if you cannot get to a library, we totally get it. Sometimes it's hard. You work. You just can't get there. You can actually apply for a library card online, get it within minutes, and access all of our free e-resources right there.
Perfect.
So you can do it that easily.
Perfect. Alicia, she's pretty good at this. I'm just saying.
I've worked in this system for 20 years. So
She started when she was 4, folks.
If I haven't talked about it yet, it probably doesn't need to be talked about.
Yeah. Oh, boy, we will end on that note. Ladies, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Tom.
That was fun.
We appreciate that.
That was fun.
They're going to play music, and then I got to wrap up. Folks, check out the Piedmont Regional Library System. Parents, wow, the Parent Partner Initiative. PRLIB.org. And you can find all the fun stuff on the website. Talk to your kids. Hey, I'm Tom Sheldon. We'll talk to you soon.